Hi there, this is Steve Kaufman. I normally talk mostly about language learning, a little bit about education, and I'd like to talk a little bit today about the importance of reading in education. I came across an item on the internet entitled Academically Adrift, and it was a study which showed that 45% of students in universities in the United States did not demonstrate any significant improvement in learning during their first 2 years of college. 36% of students did not demonstrate any significant improvement over 4 years of college. And if we go through this, and even students who improved on average only 0.18 standard deviations, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand what all of that means, but they didn't improve very much. And as you read through the article, and I will try, because you can't post a link on YouTube, but I'll post it on my blog, The Linguist on Language. But you read through the article, and it really boils down to those courses where students are asked to or forced to read a lot, they improve. And those courses where they don't read so much, they don't improve. That, to me, seems to be the bottom line here. So that was one article. I should point out, by the way, that I remember when I was at McGill University in my first year, the chancellor stood up and spoke to the first year students and told them to look at the fellow on the right, or the girl on the right, and the person on the right, the person on the left, and one of them won't be here next year because the first year 1/3 of people fail out. So that's another thing about universities. A lot of people go there probably without too clear of an idea why they're there, and a high percentage of them fail out. Given that universities cost an awful lot of money, I mean, the average cost for a university student is something like 2 or 3 times the cost of a student in the regular school system. Depending on where you are, it's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, of which the student pays a certain amount themselves, but most of it is paid for by the taxpayer, or by, in the case of private universities, if they have scholarship funds, I mean, very often it's paid by someone else, or the parent. So 1/3 fail out. Those that stay behind don't learn very much. That's really not very encouraging. And the key to improving your learning is to read. So then, why does the university matter? Why don't people just read more? It wouldn't cost $30,000 a year. Get yourself a reading list on subjects that are of interest to you. Now, of course, I know the answer. The answer is that people need the ticket that the university provides, because that's some kind of a ticket to a better job. And other people say that there's all the interaction and of course, stimulus and so forth. Yeah, but according to these statistics, 30-40% of the students don't learn very much. So how much stimulus is there at the university? I don't know. There was another series of articles in Canada about an academic sort of watchdog Canadian group of university professors who were going around investigating the religious-based universities. And their view was that a university that required you to make some statement or commitment about your faith or your belief in certain religious dogma, therefore made the university less of a place where free, academic activities could be pursued. And I'm sure that's true to some extent. However, if we bear in mind that many universities in the world were started as religious institutions, if we consider the degree to which political correctness dominates our universities, I'm not convinced that there is in fact less opportunity for learning at these religious institutions. Besides which, if the main thing is how much you read, then it's really up to the student how much they choose to read, and no one can prevent a student from reading whatever they want to read. And if the main real reason why people go to universities is to get a ticket, then, if I to a job, then, if I'm an employer and I have a student who graduated from the Holy Cross Seminary or from the, some kind of a Muslim or Sikh or Jewish or Buddhist institution, if I want that to influence, the validity that I ascribe to that diploma, well, that'll be my choice. So, I don't think this group of professors should be out there saying that this university, because it's a religious institution, therefore is less valid. I think it's going to be up to the students as to what they make of it. Of course, the professors do influence the students, and that's also kind of unfortunate. We see that in our mainstream universities where there's this very strong, anti-establishment, really anti-capitalist, anti-profit, all the things that pay for the university, ideology. These students are there paying $3,000-$5,000 a year. When the true cost is $30,000, they feel that they should have to pay less, that everything should be provided for them, and they want to basically beat up on the system that pays the taxes, that pays for the universities. So, and of course, the professors are very much involved with fomenting this kind of attitude. So, I guess the point of all of this is how much you learn, whether at a university or not at a university, is largely dependent on how motivated you are to read, or nowadays on the internet to access people, videos, other sources of knowledge about the subject you're interested in. And I'm referring primarily to the humanities, to history, literature, languages, things of this nature. But let's not forget that there are, I think it's only 12% of students who study the hard subjects, math, science, engineering. And there, I think the state should pick up the tab, because obviously for any certainly developed economy that wants to be an innovative economy and a competitive economy, they need people with those kinds of skills. So there, I think the state should pick up more of the tab. But when it comes to the humanities, which is largely a matter of reading, because the reading will not only enable you to access so much knowledge, it's also going to improve your ability to communicate, which is extremely important. It's interesting, in this article, now that I remember it, they found that students who study on their own learn more. Students who spend most of their time studying in groups don't learn very much. I've always felt that. I've never quite understood this desire to get people together in groups to learn. You kind of have to sit down with the book and read. And in the case of language learning, I've always felt that the time that I spend listening and reading on my own is much more valuable and much more efficient than time that I spend with other learners. So, I mean, my bent on this. I'm very much of an pro-independent learning, and particularly if I'm paying for it. Somehow in there, we should be encouraging people to read more and making people more responsible for their own learning. So there you have it, a little bit of a departure from the language learning stuff, and I look forward to your comments. Thank you for listening.